Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you find this video useful. I find cooking to be more fun when you can do it spontaneously. I love to walk into the kitchen and just cook. A template is great because it provides me with a blueprint and I can just fill in the gap as I go along. I find that when I combine template-based cooking with prepping in advance, that is when I can cooking in a spontaneous way. In this video, I'm going to show you how I'm going to cook this teriyaki chicken over vegetable using templates as well as prepping in advance. So when I walk into the kitchen with the template firmly in my head, I know exactly what I need to do, which is to thaw out some chicken. I need two other ingredients for this dish. The first is broccoli, which I have already prepped in advance, and the second is sliced onion, and I found some in the refrigerator. I realized that in order to cook with spontaneity, organization is very important. I need to have things right at my fingertips when I need them. By that time, the chicken was thawed. I took them out from the Ziploc bag and put them in a plastic container. Sometimes the chicken could be wet from the melting ice. I drained off the excess fluid and dried them on a towel. It is important to dry them as much as you can. Otherwise, the moisture on the surface of chicken will lower the temperature of the oil, reduce the effectiveness of frying. I then add half a tablespoon of cornstarch, just enough to dust the surface of the chicken. The cornstarch will absorb the remaining moisture on the surface of chicken, and it will also keep the chicken moist and tender during stir fry. I'm going to cook the chicken first and set them aside. First of all, this will allow me to control the doneness of the chicken, and secondly, it will give a much more intense teriyaki flavor. Next, I start season the wok. Now, if you are not familiar with this seasoning method, please take a look at this video. Basically, I heat the oil until it starts to smoke slightly, and then I allow it to smoke for another 15 seconds. This is time when the wok is being seasoned. I then turn the heat setting to low before I add the chicken to the wok. This will drop the oil temperature. I then turn the heat back to high and will keep it that way for the remaining time of cooking. In this case, stirring is critical. You need to stir the chicken thoroughly, and don't forget to use the wok spatula as a shovel to turn the contents over. A couple of things you might notice during this process. First of all is that a small food particle is going to get accumulate and burn to the bottom of the wok. These are bits of cornstarch that become stuck and burn to the surface of the wok. Second, you should, as much as possible, use the wok spatula to scrape them off. Coating the chicken with cornstarch is a compromise between having it to stuck to the bottom of the wok to create better flavor in the chicken. I'm willing to have this inconvenience of having the cornstarch to stuck to the bottom of the wok because they create much better flavor in the chicken. By this point, the chicken is almostly cooked. You can see how the cornstarch has coated the chicken and give it a smooth texture. To finish up the cooking process, I'm going to add some water to the wok. That will create a light sauce with the chicken. At the same time, the water might help to clean the wok. Together with the wok spatula, this is one way to clean the wok as you cook. I call this spot cleaning. You can see my video on this. Next, I shut off the heat because I'm going to create a teriyaki sauce for the chicken. In my case, I have to remove the wok from the stove because it is an electric stove. The teriyaki sauce is a combination of dark soy sauce. You can use regular soy sauce as well with sugar, oyster sauce, and hoisin sauce in a ratio of 3 to 3 to 1 to 1. I started with an approximate amount, and then I do a taste test and I adjust it accordingly. After I find the flavor I like, I'm going to make a sauce to coat the chicken to give it a more intense flavor. I used a jar to make a cornstarch suspension, which contained 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. The jar is great because I can easily shake it up to make sure everything mixes well. I put a wok bed on the stove and turn the heat to low. I wait till the fluid starts slightly to bubble, and then I add the cornstarch. You should add a little at a time. stir the content gently and let the cornstarch to thicken. Make sure that the fluid is slightly bubbling because otherwise the cornstarch will not thicken. It is better to add a little bit at a time to achieve the desired thickness of the sauce rather than add them all together. Once you have got the thickness of the sauce that you want, you can remove the wok from the stove and then you can transfer the chicken and set them aside. I'm not going to wash the wok before I cook the vegetable because I'm going to let the vegetable pick up the flavor from the sauces in the wok. I'm going to put the wok back on the stove and turn on the heat with addition of 1 tablespoon of canola oil. I let the oil to heat up for about 15 seconds before I add 1 cup of thinly sliced onion. I stir fry the onions with the oil quickly to make sure that they well mix, but I'm not going to stir fry them for too long because I want to retain the flavor of the onion. I then add the broccoli to the wok. I stir fry it for a few seconds and I realize that there's just not enough oil to coat the surface of the floret. I add some more oil to the wok, particularly over the surface of the broccoli. I use a hydration bottle because it gives me much better control of amount of oil that I want to add. My goal is to make sure that the broccoli are well coated with oil because only when it's coated with hot oil it will be stir fried properly. I stir fry the broccoli for about 30 seconds and I like the appearance by now because the florets are glistening with oil means that they have been properly stir-fried. If you like your broccoli crisp, you should just stir-fry for another maybe 20 to 30 seconds and it is done. You are ready. However, I like my broccoli slightly tender, not so crunchy, so I'm going to steam it. Again, I'm using a squeeze bottle with water and I add enough water just to cover the bottom of the wok. I want you to notice by this time some of the sugar in the sauce have caramelized to the bottom of the wok and burned to it. It turned out that the steaming the vegetable at this point actually helped to clean the wok because it dissolved the substance that had burned on the surface of wok and you can easily detach them with your wok spatula. The steaming takes about 60 to 90 seconds, depending on how soft you want the vegetable to be. Don't add too much water all at once. Just add enough water to cover the bottom of the wok, and you can always add more if the water has evaporated. By the time when you're done with steaming, you should barely have any water left at the bottom of the wok. This will keep the flavor of the vegetable more intense. I prefer to serve the vegetable on a plate and then I put the teriyaki chicken over the vegetables. This makes the flavor of the teriyaki chicken more intense. However, sometimes I put the chicken directly to the wok and mix it with the vegetable and serve them together. Because sometimes when I have children in the dinner party, they tend to just eat the chicken without eating the vegetable. This way, they can eat both of them together. I normally keep my video under 5 minutes, but this is not possible to cover a dish like this with this level of complexity. So I hope the longer format will be more helpful to you. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the like button below if you find this video to be informative. Thank you for watching. See you next time.